Hi there, Mr. Holcomb here with another lesson in geometry. This is Unit 1, Lesson 6, Session 2. This is on page 103 in the text. And I just skipped over a couple things. The objectives are the same as Session 1, so I skipped that. And it says here, make sense of the problem. Look at the circumference C of each of the circles below. What do you think would be the circumference of a circle with a diameter of 1 centimeter? So here is a radius of 2.5 centimeters. So the first thing students should understand and realize is that if the radius is 2.5 and I extend it over to the other side like so, then this is also 2.5. So the whole thing is 5 centimeters. So 5, 4, 3, 2. And now they're saying if we had another circle that is a radius of 1, okay, so it might be about that size, okay. So here's a circle. I won't be able to draw inside this because it's pretty small, but if there was a dot here and a line through it, and it says, look at the circumference C of each of the circles below. What do you think would be the circumference of a circle with a diameter of 1 cm? Okay, so what do you think the circumference would be of this? Well, look at the circumferences of the others. It went from 15.7 down to 12.56, down to 9.42, and we're decreasing by 1 here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 3 was 9.42, and then this is 6.28, and they're saying, what do you think this would be? Okay, well, hopefully you thought it might be about 3.14 cm. Okay, and we'll talk about that in this lesson. So it says you make a graph to look at the relationships between circumference and the diameter for each circle. So these 4 dots came from these 4 circles here, where 2 is your diameter and C is your 6.28. So if I go back here, here's the 2, here's the 6.28. So X is our diameters and the Y axis is the circumference in centimeters of these 4 circles here, not the little one that we drew. Okay, so 2 comma 6.28, 3 comma 9.42, 4 comma 12.56, and finally 5 comma 15.70. And that's what these points are here. Diameter, circumference, diameter, circumference. So you can make a graph to look at the relationship between them. The horizontal axis shows the diameter, D. The vertical axis shows the circumference, C, in centimeters. Okay. So before I go any further here, I just wanted to point out what this is a relation to. So now we have the point 0, 0. We have a straight line going through the origin. This is a y equals kx formula. So this is what we've been working on, y equals kx, right? Where k is the constant of proportionality. This is what the quiz was just on. Okay, and it all boils down to k equals y divided by x. And once we find k, we can put it in here and we have the equation of this line. Okay, so if k is y divided by x, we'll just look at one of the points. Y is 6.28. So my k is going to equal 6.28 divided by the x value, which is here, which is 2. So my k is going to become 3.14. So if I take that k and substitute it in over here, okay, many students had trouble with this on the quiz. All you got to do now is say, now the equation is y equals 3.14x. There was a question on the quiz that said, given this equation, what is the constant of proportionality? And the answer is 3.14. Okay, so there's the equation, y equals 3.14x. If I plug a 1 in for x, it's 3.14 times 1. So a diameter of 1 would give me a circumference of 3.14 times 1. So this would be y equals 3.14 times 1, and that would be y equals 3.14, where y is the circumference. Okay, and that's going back to this. All right, so no matter what I plug in now, I could find the circumference if I know the diameter, or if I knew the diameter, or if I knew the diameter, I could find the circumference, or vice versa. Okay, and that is a constant of proportionality. So now it says you can look for a constant of proportionality. There it is, a K, in the relationship between the approximate circumference of each circle and the diameter. So you just take your y over x, which is your circumference divided by your diameter, and you'd get 3.14 every single time. So in this one, it says the radius is 2.5 centimeters, therefore the diameter is 5 cm. It's 2 of the radiuses makes 1 diameter. So the constant of proportionality, K, is 3.14. Okay, and that's all they're trying to explain here. Now let's connect it. Each circumference is given using the approximation symbol, which looks like a squiggly equal sign. What does that mean about the circumference? Well, the circumference is given using an approximation. That tells us the circumference is being approximated, and it's not an integer or a rational number. It's probably irrational. So what's the approximate circumference of a circle with a diameter of 1 cm? Okay, well, that's just going back to here. I've already done it. So the approximate circumference of a circle, you would say y is approximately 3.14x, and the diameter, okay, instead of y's and x's, now I'm going to say c is approximately 3.14d. So now I plug in 1 for d. So c, the circumference, is approximately 3.14 times my d, which is 1. So my circumference is approximately 3.14 cm, because it was in centimeters. Now look at the first model it. Y is the 0.5 comma 15.7 on the graph. Okay, the first model it, it's right here. Why is this point on the graph? Because when you have a circle with a diameter of 5, the circumference is 15.70. Okay, you'd just be, let's see, where did it go? Right here. What this means is, well, this is X and this is Y, and in this case, this is our diameter and this is our circumference, D and C. So you'd say C is approximately 3.14 D, and therefore 15.70 should be approximately 3.14 times 5. And when you multiply that, that's exactly what you get. And that is why that point is on the graph. Number 3, look at the second modelet. What does the constant of proportionality tell you about the relationship between circumference and diameter of a circle? Now we're talking about this modelet here. Okay, so we took y over x and found 3.14, 3.14, 3.14, 3.14, right? So now when you come back here, look at that modelet. What does the constant of proportionality tell you about the relationship between circumference and the diameter of a circle? Well, if circumference equals pi times d, and we divide both sides by d, then we get the circumference divided by the diameter is equivalent to, that's a d, not an a, equivalent to pi. So it says, what does the constant of proportionality tell you about the relationship between circumference and diameter of a circle? Well, the circumference with respect to the diameter, circumference divided by diameter, is equal to or approximately 3.14. The quotient, circumference over diameter, which I have here, is called pi. See how I had it equal to pi right here? Okay. The exact value of pi is a decimal that goes on forever without repeating. It's irrational. Use pi to write a formula for the circumference of a circle, C, when you know the diameter, D. Okay, so that's just simply C equals pi times D. Okay, I'm going back to just what I'm doing here is, let me just erase this here, this line here. What I'm doing here is I'm multiplying both sides by D. What you do to one side, you must do to the other to keep the equation equal. And the D's cancel here, and we get circumference equals pi times D, which is what I have here. Okay, so there is the formula for circumference, pi D. So now let's connect it. An exact circumference, exact, uses pi. To find an approximate circumference, you can use 3.14 or the fraction 22/7 as an approximate value of pi. So then the question says, what is the exact circumference? When you see the word exact, you want to use pi, not 3.14, not 22/7. What is the exact circumference for a circle with a diameter of 6 cm? So you say C equals pi D. Okay, write the formula. Step one, always write a formula. C equals pi D. Now substitute the givens for a circle with a diameter of 6. That's our D. So C equals pi times 6. So to simplify that, you'd put the 6 first, and it's simply 6 pi. So the approximate, now it says, what is the approximate? So now it says, what is the approximate circumference? Now I want to use 22/7 or 3.14. I prefer the decimal. So I'm going to write C equals pi D. C equals pi times, this is my D, 3.14. We always write the number before the symbol, so it's going to be 3.14 pi. So this is a oh, I'm sorry. Made a mistake there. C equals pi D. Let me go back. C equals pi D. I meant to put the diameter in here. So instead of using pi, I'm going to use an approximate. C equals 3.14 times my D, which is 6. Okay, sorry about that. And then C equals 6 times 4 is 24. Carry the 2. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And 6 times 3 is 18. So the approximate, now I need to change this. Since it is an approximate and not an exact, I can't use an equal sign. Okay, I have to use the squiggly equal sign or the approximation. C is approximately 18.84 cm. And I should have cm here. Okay, there we go. Approximate and exact representation. Now reflect. Think about all the models and strategies you have discussed today. Describe how one of them helped you better understand how to find the circumference of a circle. Okay, I'm going to leave that to you. That's something you need to do on your own. Everybody's different, and I'll continue to apply it. So it says the circumference of a circle is 12 pi feet. What is the diameter? So guess what I'm going to do first? I'm going to write a formula. C equals pi D. The circumference of a circle is 12 feet, 12 pi feet. So that replaces C. So I put 12 pi feet equals pi D. It says, what is the diameter? We want to get diameter by itself. This is being multiplied. So you have to divide by pi to get pi out away from D. So do to one side, you do to the other. These pi divided by pi is 1, leaving me with 1D. And the pi's cancel here, leaving me with 12 feet. So the circumference or the diameter of a circle with circumference of 12 pi feet, the diameter is 12 feet. Okay. Number 8, What is the circumference of this circle? So, see the word circumference? Write C equals pi d. Write your answer using pi. That's an approximation, so I can use the equal sign. I'm sorry, that's exact. My fault. That's exact. Approximations are 3.14 and 22/7. So it says, write your answer using pi, show your work. So C equals pi d. There's my formula. This is a radius. So a diameter is, that wasn't very straight. A diameter, still struggling. A diameter would continue to here. Okay, it's hard to draw this straight. Okay, so if that's 4 meters, this is 4 meters, so therefore the diameter d equals 2 times the radius, so the diameter is 2 times 4, so the diameter is 8 meters. So that's the first thing you have to do is get the diameter. Okay, what's the circumference of the circle? Well, C equals 4 and 4 is 8, so this is my d. So you write pi times 8m. So putting this in the proper order is C equals 8 pi meters. Okay, and that's showing your work. Number 9. The diameter of a gong is 20 inches. So in other words, if I drew a straight line right through here, it's 20 inches. Find the approximate circumference of the gong. C is approximately 3.14 D. So it said use 3.14 for your approximation. Then find the exact circumference of the gong. Show your work. So now C is approximately, and the diameter is 20. 3.14 times 20. And when I multiply that, I'm going to get 6.280. And when you multiply by tenths, the decimal moves. So I'm going to get rid of it there. So the answer is 62.80. And it's inches. So I put IN. Okay, there's my approximation. The circumference is about 62.8 inches. Then find the exact circumference of the gong. Well, then I'm going to say C equals pi d. C equals pi times 20. So therefore, C equals 20 pi inches. Okay, this is an exact or approximation. This is an exact. Okay, practice 1. A circular dining room table top has a radius of 22 inches. So you have a circle, a radius of 22 inches. So therefore the diameter is 44 inches. Okay, that's my diameter. What's the diameter of the tabletop? Well, D equals 2R. So therefore, let me do an arrow here. Therefore, D equals 2 times 44, which is 80. I'm sorry, 2 times 22, which is 44. 2 times the radius equals the diameter. B says, what is the circumference? Well, write your answer using pi. That's an exact. C equals pi d. C equals pi d is 44 times 44 inches. So my answer is C equals 44 pi inches. Number 2. A circular coin has a circumference of 32 pi millimeters. Will the coin fit through a slot that's 35 millimeters long? So you have a coin and there's a coin slot that's 35 millimeters long, and you want to know if that coin will fit when the circumference is 32 pi millimeters around. Okay, that's what we're trying to find. So we want to find the diameter. Okay, we need to know this diameter, and it has to be less than the slot or it won't go in. So you say C equals pi d. Okay, the circumference is 32 pi. So I substitute that in for C, and that equals pi d. To get the diameter by itself, we just divide both sides by pi. These pi's cancel, and I get 32 millimeters equals d. And since 32 is less than 35, then yes, it will go into the slot because the diameter is less than the slot's length. Okay, that would be your explanation. Okay. All right. Next one. Destiny draws a circle with a radius of 14 centimeters. Okay, so it's a circle with a radius of 14, so that means the diameter is 28. What is the circumference of Destiny's circle? So C equals pi d. C equals 28 times pi, and it's centimeters. And that's it. There's your answer. Part B, is 85 centimeters a reasonable estimate for the circumference of Destiny's circle? Okay, so what you need to do is take 3.14 and multiply it by 28. Okay, I'm just going to save time and do that with a calculator. So if I take 3.14 times 28, I get 87.92. Okay. Is 85 centimeters a reasonable estimate for the circumference? So 87.92 cm is the actual. So 85 is fairly close. We're off by 2.92 centimeters. So I would say yes, it is a reasonable estimate. Yes. Okay, number 4. The diameter of a basketball rim is 18 inches, as shown here. What is the circumference of the rim? Okay, C equals pi times diameter. C equals pi times substituting in the diameter. So C equals 18 pi inches. Okay, it says write your answer using pi. Show your work. That's it. Done. Number 5. A circular mirror has a circumference of 50 pi. So I'm going to draw a mirror. Okay. And it's got a circumference of 50 pi inches. What is the radius? So I want to know how far it is from here to here. So C equals pi d. 50 pi, which is my circumference, equals pi d. Divide both sides by pi. The pi's cancel, and I get the diameter equals 50 inches. And there's 2 radius per diameter, so the radius is 25 inches. Okay, so that's our solution. Okay, so that is the end of the lesson. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.